Have I changed your mind?
No. No way should he be 1-4. Nico, the Chas Bal, the whatever his name is. Might just have to dig a bit deeper for this one.
This is Unbridled, and we are up to episode 9, and we are still with our sponsors, BoyleSports. We're in association with them. We've had quite a week since I've last seen you. We've seen an outstanding triumph hurdle prospect in Lulamba. We've seen Jonbon record his official rating. Some absolute nutcase I read in the paper said that you should take no notice of official ratings. But anyway, we won't get into that now. It just drove me mad when I read that. Anyway, we've had Jonbon. So quite a lot has happened over the last few days.
Yeah.
You've been excited? Because you don't look that excited. In fact, I'm already thinking that you're not really appreciating the fact that you're the guest on Unbridled.
No, I did enjoy it. Brilliant racing. Windsor, Ascot, Windsor again, it was a massive success. And we've seen some great horses, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, crowds are really good at Windsor. They weren't so good for the Clarence House. It's almost as if Ascot are not that fussed about the Clarence House meeting at the moment, but certainly they would have expected more people. Jonbon, I've spoken to the official handicappers about this, and they were the first to agree, the official BHA handicappers, that for them, although they've rated him the highest he's ever been, 171, it was almost impossible for them to know whether Edwardstone, Boot Hill and Energumene are anywhere near what they once were. So they've given him the highest rating ever, but what that form is worth only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I think going into the race, he had by far the best preparation. He looked a warm order going into the race, and he won very, very well. Moving forward onto the Champion Chase, I never ever looked.
Well, hold on, just before you do that, our sponsors have pushed it out to 6-4 from 6-5. Jonbon. If you fancy Jonbon, the brilliant winner of the Clarence House, the winner of 17 of 20 races, the winner of 9 Grade 1s, if you fancy him for the Champion Chase, Boyle are now going 6-4. Carry on. Yeah,
no, I look at Jonbon and I thought, again, brilliant ride. But in a race like that with 4 runners where he manages to dictate, I think come the Champion Chase, I think it won't be as easy for him. And if he's ever beatable, and if he can be beaten, it will be that day.
I tell you what, let's take a look at the race. Let's have a look at it right now. We're turning for home. Jonbon's had a relatively uncontested lead. He was just harassed by Energumene. But at the end of the day, Paddy, Nicky has always said this is a horse who will stay 2.5 miles. In fact, he's won over 2.5 miles before. He's not going to stop.
No, he's not. But you can Nico, every time he rides him, he has a plan. It's a simple plan. Room, positive.
You say Nico's quite a simple jockey.
And it really suits Jonbon. Now, with the likes of Matata, Il est Français, it's going to be a different ball game. He ain't going to be. If he's there.
Yeah.
But I might have been alone, but I was impressed with Matata, and I think something like him in the Champion Chase could be someone that Jonbon doesn't need.
You're not one of these nutters who thinks that he's better right-handed than left-handed, are you?
No, I haven't looked at it that way, but when you look at his chase around Cheltenham when he got beat, he's got to go back and prove that he can be as good there.
I mean, that's bollocks, isn't it? You know that's bollocks.
No, I don't know it's bollocks.
Okay, well, let's go
when he won there, even when he won the Shloor, you didn't look at him that day and say he wasn't beatable.
Okay, shall I tell you why you're wrong? When he won the Shloor, he was rated 166. The BHA handicappers put him up to 170 for that Shloor success. It was, at that time, the best performance of his career. And yet, people like you, who don't do their homework, will look at it and say, oh, he wasn't that impressive. Well, on official figures, he was. And I'm not having this Cheltenham thing at all. Like, he made a mistake in the Clarence House when it was at Cheltenham. To say that was the race course. Q-Card made a mistake, didn't he, at the top of the hill at Cheltenham once? Or was he just decked by someone? I can't remember. But anyway, did Q-Card not operate at Cheltenham because he fell? No. Exactly.
But why did Jonbon make the mistake at Cheltenham?
Because horses make mistakes. Corto Star fell. Desert Orchid fell. There's nothing wrong with falling. It doesn't mean you don't like the track. Right. Got you on that one. Of his other Cheltenham defeats, one was at Constitution Hill in the Supreme. Yeah? Well, that's not an insult, is it? Constitution Hill could be the best we've ever seen.
That was a hurdle race.
Yeah, it was a hurdle race. The other was in the Arkle against El Fabiolo. Now, El Fabiolo was favourite for the Arkle, 11-10 favourite, and he was unbeaten over fences for Willie Mullins, and he was seen at that moment as the second coming, and he beat Jonbon. But Jonbon had beaten El Fabiolo over hurdles at where? Aintree, left-handed. To say that he doesn't operate at Cheltenham or he doesn't go around the track, it's just nonsense. Honestly, have I changed your mind?
No.
Are you the most stubborn? Are you stubborn at home?
Someone... Yeah, I'd be strong in an opinion.
And are you, as one person famously said, not for changing?
Definitely.
Right. So it doesn't matter whether I come up with highly intelligent debate on this show. If you are in that zone of that you've given so many of those jockeys in the weighing room with you, if you're in that zone, there's nothing that can stop you. You are out of control.
No, but what makes racing great, Matt, is opinions. And there's so many, and people get bored of listening to everyone's. But you got your opinion on Jonbon. I've got mine. I just think Matata, 50-1, someone told me, each way in that champion chase. Get out that gate and make it hard for Jonbon. Rub up him when you need to. Get upsides him.
Shall I tell you what Matata will be?
Well,
he will be the best pacemaker Jonbon has ever had. What do you need as a pacemaker? A good horse. What is Matata? A good horse. He will work perfectly. Jonbon will just sit second, bish, baff.
I seen something from Matata I'd never seen from him before.
You like this JJ Slemon, don't you?
Great signing. Great signing. I don't know how long that thought process went into something, but it's the first time I've seen that horse settle with a lead.
Got to give credit to Sam Twiston-Davies here. We've got to remember that he does all the work on Matata at home.
No, he doesn't.
He says he does.
Finn Lambert does.
He told me you did it.
No, Finn Lambert's a massive part of that horse's career. Rides him out every day, sometimes in the dark, where we often see you walking around in the dark. But Finn Lambert's a big help to that horse. But I seen something from him at Windsor that really, really impressed me.
I'm tempted to call him now.
Work away.
Should we try? He obviously has no idea, and he can be quite liberal with the vocal language, Twisty. So we'll see if he picks up. Twisty?
How are you getting on?
Yeah, we're just on Unbridled. Paddy's here.
Oh, good. You having a bit of fun?
Well, to an extent. I've got two questions for you, Sam, if you're willing. One I think is going to you off, to be quite frank. The other one probably won't. We're talking about Matata.
Yeah.
I said you do so much work. In fact, I did say all the work, if I'm to be honest, at home on this horse. Paddy says, no, he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. Finn Lambert does it all. Which one of us is right?
Paddy.
Oh.
I do. Look, I've schooled him, I've sat on him, but Finn does all the hard work with him. He's not easy now.
Okay.
He does a good job.
You won't believe it. People can hear this at home. I've got Michael Buckley calling on the other line.
Hang up on me now, then.
No. Finally, Potter's Charm. Excited for him at the weekend?
Schooled this morning, schooled nicely. He'll have a track wash tomorrow just to make sure, and if that's good, then he goes.
Thanks, Everson.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
Because we did say we weren't going to run, but then obviously he's so fresh and well, and it's just the opportunities that it just looks a nice one for him.
I guess in these situations, there are two sides of this story. One is, I think horsey people don't like changing plans necessarily. But secondly, we all know when you're dealing with horses, anything can happen. And in a week's time, he might not be able to go to Cheltenham for some reason, but you might have picked up nearly 50 grand this weekend.
Exactly. And it's one of those where he hadn't done much since Aintree, and he was just ridiculously fresh and well. So we upped his work a little bit, and he was just taking it really well. So kind of put yourself an opportunity. He's still got a lot of time where we can still get him really fresh and well, and hopefully back on every kind of spectrum that he can be even better at Cheltenham. We think we've got time to do it anyway, so thought we'd have a go and see.
Twisty, thanks so much for answering. Just in case we can re-edit this, you do all the work on Matata, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, thought so. Thanks, Twisty. Have a great day.
Bye.
Let's bring Buckers back. I'm just in case. It would be horrific if something's happened to Constitution Hill and we don't know.
Thank you for your message.
Thanks, Buckers. Just to tell you, because I don't want to stitch you up in any way, you're live on Unbridled right now, because we're right in the middle of recording the show. But I just wanted to take the call just in case you had something urgent you needed to tell me.
No, only Happy New Year. And
And still no sign of the dinner.
no, but I'm presuming I'm relying on you for that.
Okay.
We need suggestions about where we're going.
Scots.
What would be your favourite venue?
Oh, yeah, I imagine it's going to have to be a McDonald's or something, is it?
No, tell him to take us one apiece.
I think that's a bit posh, to be honest. Just, Buckers, I'll ring you back later, but just finally, the big horse, everything good today?
Actually, I only came back from America. Yeah, I think so. Nicky rang me briefly. Everything's fine as far as I know.
Amazing. We can't wait to see him on Saturday. Thank you for running him. Genuinely, thank you for running him.
Listen, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. We'll leave you be.
Are you going to be there?
I will be at Doncaster Saturday,
I'll be there.
but my heart will be with you.
Oh, God, I love that. Yeah, it's always in my pocket. Take care.
Thanks, Buckers. Bye-bye. Right, let's go back to Lulamba. So look. Nicky Henderson played this down. Everyone in that yard knew Lulamba was special, didn't they? Everyone.
Well, look, we hadn't seen him beforehand in the yard, but his run at a tie was pretty impressive, and he's carried that over to the UK. He was so good to watch. But the most impressive bit for me was from the last of the line. Like, you're watching it here, you can see Nico travels up well. But when he jumps this hurl, the second last, just straight back up in the irons, I was really impressed. He just seems to do everything right. He's not keen. He's relaxed. But from this point, from the last of the line was the most impressive bit. Just nailed into him a bit and hands and heels. Yeah, he could be anything. You can never tell how good they're going to be, but he's ticked every single box.
Giving £10 to the runner-up. The vibes, and I can only say vibes, from the Gary and Josh Moore and Jamie Moore team were they thought Mondo Man would win that race. They didn't care how good Lulamba was. They thought Mondo Man would win. 5th in the French Derby, 4th in the King Edward VII at Royal Ascot. The time was good. Like, you can look at that race two ways, because you could say, well, we don't know what he's beaten, Lulamba. But Gary and Josh Moore know the time of day. If they thought Mondo Man could really seriously win that race, that form could be really hot.
Yeah, Mondo Man, he did a lot wrong, didn't he? He was so keen. And that's something he's going to have to, relax. I'm sure he will the more he runs over hurls, but it was a hell of a race. But the winner, I thought was far superior on the day.
Of course, we're about to see a horse called Palladium. This podcast goes out Wednesday night. Palladium runs Thursday. This is the €1.4 million horse, still a colt. It's there to breed from effectively as well as race. And Hendo's just bowled us a little bit of a googly with Lulamba in the Supreme. There's Salvador Mundi in that as well in the same colours. Palladium is owned by the Bamfords, who own JCB, and JCB are the sponsors of the Triumph Hurdle. So it's very obvious what could happen here. If Palladium absolutely bolts up, then Lulamba could end up going for the Supreme. But as we saw with Mondo Man there, you don't know with flat horses, do you? Some very bad flat horses make a stand, who won a claimer, and then went upon the Champion Hurdle. And then other good horses, Moonax, who won the St. Leger, wasn't much good over hurdles at all. It's like, it's not a certainty, is it, that you're a good flat horse?
Absolutely not. Look, it's a nice starting point tomorrow. My Paddy Brennan Racing Syndicate horse, Jack Hyde. I was hoping he was in the right division, and he was until I seen this one. 1.4 million. Look, price tag sometimes doesn't mean a lot. He's still a colt. But you got to see two things from him tomorrow. You got to see that he stays over hurls, and you got to see that he jumps. He's got a couple of boxes to tick, but yeah, obviously we know how talented he is, and I'm sure it'll be another one Nicky Henderson's very excited about.
It's funny how things work out, Pat, but before we ever did this show, I said to you, feel free to mention the syndicate, feel free to do what you're doing, because people are interested in what you're up to. You've hardly ever taken that opportunity, and full credit to you. I didn't want it to sort of turn into an advert every show and people would have been bored senseless, but just tell us about your horse in this race, what you're expecting, what your hopes are.
Yeah, look, it's Jack Hyde, bought him from John Reddington. He's a horse I'm very, very excited about. Obviously had a long time off before his last run, but if you look through his race at Kempton on Boxing Day, he was an eyecatcher. You know, not having run for 2 years, I was so impressed with him, and I couldn't have been any more excited going into this race. Obviously, we got the Nicky Henderson horse, but other than that, I think he'll go very, very well. And wherever we finish tomorrow, we're building up to a nice handicap mark, and he'll win lots of races.
Kept on from 2 out. Jockey said gelding hung right-handed. Was that an excuse that you make up for, yes, Governor?
No, definitely not.
Yes, stewards. He hung right. I couldn't steer him up the home straight as I attempted to get the handicap mark.
But that was a good race, Matt. The second horse was Harry Skelton's. That was going to win well at Newcastle. Fell 3 out, so that form will be backed up. But yeah, look, it's nice to be in that race tomorrow, and yeah, we'll see what the Nicky Henderson horse can do, but we'll serve it up to him.
Yeah, let's have a look at Lulamba as far as the betting is concerned. Obviously now quite a short price. BoyleSports will push it out a little bit for you, out to 7-4 from 6-4. If you just think Lulamba's going to win the Triumph, 7-4 with BoyleSports. Our kind sponsors, we are in association with them still.
Lulamba. I just think, the owners, how lucky they are. You can spend a lot of money in racing, but to end up horses like this fella, Sergino, Stateman, I'm sure you can name others.
Well, Marie Donnelly, welcome to the show. I can't remember whether I told this story on the show before.
You did mention that she likes her.
I might have, yeah. Tapped me on the shoulder after Sergino won to Kempton and said, loving the podcast.
But if you're an owner coming into racing, this doesn't happen. To have horses like this, you can spend millions, and it just wouldn't happen. So, look, they're very lucky owners, and wish them all the best.
We never hear from Joe Donnelly. Doesn't like, as quite a few of those sort of very rich Irish people don't. It doesn't say an awful lot until you get up to him personally and he knows there's no microphones, and then he starts flowing with stories, Joe. Not everyone knows anything about him, but people should understand that Joe Donnelly was one, if not the shrewdest bookmaker that a lot of people have ever known in the game.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and he knew dog racing, horse racing. Greyhounds were a big thing for Joe Donnelly. So the Lulamba gamble, for instance, I'm just putting it out there. Like, he's owned by a man who's one of the best bookmakers of all time. Like, who knows whether Joe was part of that? I don't know. And I'm not suggesting that he was. But there's always a connection with those horses. If you ever see a big market movie, you've got to remember that the man at the helm was one of the best bookmakers ever. Joe Donnelly, a real character. Probably won't be watching after that, will he? He said, oh no, he's talking about us. Marie, turn it off. Protektorat in the Ryanair. Should we have a look at him in the Winter Millions? Because this was absolutely dominant, and everything Harry Skelton didn't do at Huntingdon on this horse, he did at Windsor.
Yeah,
I wasn't happy with the ride at Huntingdon.
Yeah, but Huntingdon was the other way around. It was near, and it was very, very deep ground. I know it's soft here, but like the whole way, if you're watching Harry Skelton, I could just feel it being there where a horse is just loving jumping. He was just in cruise control all the way, and yeah, it was a hell of a performance.
It's a love-hate relationship between the Skeltons and Protektorat. Apparently, he's an absolute loony at home. Horrible.
I've seen it for myself on the ground gallop. He just goes. But he loves it. He loves being a racehorse. And I always think, Matt, in a horse, if you've got one that's doing too much, it's always better than the ones that's not doing enough. They're enthusiastic. They want it. He's been a hell of a horse.
He's just kind of horse, I think, in this game that's an unsung hero. Like, people don't ooze about Protektorat, do they? But if we didn't have him, we'd all really miss him.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you stood beside him, he's not actually a big horse. he's just very handy. But yeah, he's been a massive for the Skeletons, and yeah, he'd definitely have a chance in the Ryanair, being ridden like that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's have a look at the boost then, as far as Protektorat is concerned. What did I manage to get? 11-1 from 9-1 with our kind sponsors. So 11-1 Protektorat. The only problem this time around with the Ryanair, and I was one of his supporters last year, and that's not after timing because I was. I think it's a really tough. If Factor Far runs in the Ryanair, I don't think anyone thinks he should, but if he does, and there are 2 or 3 others, it could be a real rocket of a race. I mean, if Ile France, actually Ile France won't run in the Ryanair, will he? But if Factor Far goes in there, Banbridge, if he went in the Ryanair, it's a hot race.
Yeah, I think a lot will involve around the Dublin Racing Festival and Factor File's performance there, but you just get the impression that he could be leaning towards the Ryanair, and if he did, between him and Banbridge, hell of a race.
You are constantly on the lookout for horses for us to keep a second eye on, Pad. Have you found anything?
I like the horse of Fergal O'Brien's, actually.
You really don't like Fergal, do you? You
Okay.
sketch him up any way you can, and here you are giving away one he's tucked away and down the field, and here you are telling the world about it. You just hate Fergal, don't you?
No. Sometimes you got to pick horses out for the future, and you don't want to pick horses that are necessarily going to just win graded races all the time. But this is C.O. Gale. I thought a lot was against her this day. Ground, trip. In handicaps wise, moving forward, something like the EBF at Newbury or something, she would be a filly to stay on the right side of, and love the way she hit the line in a very, very competitive race.
Well, Fergal, Paddy stitched you up. Don't forget, of course, Jubilee Alpha was the horse, Pad, that was an eyecatcher at Newbury first time. You pinpointed on Unbridled, one to follow, and she's not doing much wrong now.
No, she's not. She was good at Windsor, but like Paul Nicholls stated after that, that was 20 days after she won at Taunton. And when you understand about the training of horses, Matt, when you're building a horse up for a race, and then sometimes 20 days after, you might think it's a long time, but it's not. She's got a lovely bit of time now before Cheltenham, and I think the tempo, everything will suit her. Good gallop. She's definitely got a chance.
Maureen, 6.5, and Jubilee Alpha, the top of the betting. She's around 7-8-1. Jubilee Alpha for the Mares Novices Hurdle. She'll go there with an each way chance, won't she?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see 1 or 2 more come out between now and then. But yeah, more of an each way chance, Matt. She's got a massive chance. Love the way she goes about it, the way she jumps, and I think most of all she'll come up that Cheltenham Hill.
One horse I just wanted to mention to you from Windsor, Johnny Who. Do you feel that he's just gearing up for a handicap somewhere?
Yeah, definitely think there's a plan with Johnny Who, don't you?
Well, I'd have thought so. You got annoyed this week.
Why would I ever get annoyed?
Well, it wasn't just that you have to see me every Wednesday. Fakenham. Tell me about Fakenham.
Yeah, Fakenham. Special place. Towards the end of my career, Fergal used to say, oh, you ride it this way, and that way. I said, Fergal, you know what you do now? Next time you have a runner at Fakenham, you leave me at home. I couldn't get my head around the place. But when you watch racing there on Sunday, look, all credit to them, bringing in fantastic prize money, and I completely admire that. But turning down the back straight, that bend, you bring prize money, you bring more competitive racing, and I just thought turning down the back on Sunday, there was a lot of horses in with a chance, and it just got tight. I'm no safety officer, but I'm just not sure. That possibly was an accident waiting to happen.
Isn't more of the problem, it's just a thinking man's track, and you struggle with that.
There's no thinking around there. And like I said, when I used to go there and ride and try and use my brain, it didn't work. I got so frustrated. I hated driving there. I hated driving home. And yeah, I never think of faking them.
Which track, when you used your brain, did work?
Exeter.
And what did you do there that was different to most other?
Sure, every time I went there, I was on a good horse. Bring the best. Because it was just, cream would always rise. If you've got a graded horse, bring him to Exeter.
Okay. A man who has plenty of graded horses is David Maxwell. Very wealthy man, intelligent, Corinthian, I'm not sure if he loves that, but he is a Corinthian, mad as a hatter, but the game would be a lot worse without him. He was a good winner at Ascot the other day, but comments about his riding, I mean, they always happen, but are they a little bit unfair?
Yeah, I think David Maxwell, you know, he used to sit close to me in the weigh room. We had the same valet, pristinely dressed, always. Pristine. He'd have a white shirt on and just be ironed. So good. Anyway, very professional man. But I think 2 years ago was the turning point in David Maxwell's riding. One thing that changed was Paul Nicholls. Paul Nicholls told David Maxwell to drop his irons. And honestly, I think it changed so much for the way he's ridden since. He let his irons down 2 holes. And you watch him some days now, you cannot argue with his ride at Ascot. I think the same horse won at Taunton. I think he's come a long, long way. And to have ridden out his claim is a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to show you 2 pictures. One is this one, David Maxwell at the last at Ascot, which went kind of viral on social media. And the second one is Jack Tudor, who, as far as I can see, is almost in exactly the same position, but no one gave 2 hoots about. I mean, the David Maxwell positioning at that final fence, buckle end, looking as though he's going over Beecher's Brook, got a lot of comments, but none on Jack Tudor. That just shows you, isn't it? It's like, you know, you do what you have to do. It doesn't really matter what you look like, does it?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I actually learned that from Tony Mackay. Buckle end, get back. You know, Jack Tudor, I admire that. Loose horse never won a race. Doesn't matter how far you sit back at the last. Just keep in touch. I remember watching Paul Townend recently in Fairy House.
You're getting good at this.
If he didn't go back in that position, he would have come off and he ended up winning the race. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting back. I always used to call that brace position. Brace, because if they go down and you're back there, the first thing that's going to hit the ground is your arms. Now, I was often in favour of breaking my arm, but I didn't want my head to take the impact.
Mm. Like, isn't the game more interesting with him around?
Absolutely. I think he's brilliant for racing. And look, he's got the right people around him choosing his horses. He's got a lovely bunch. He's great for trainers. Anyone would want to train for him. And he's very generous, Matt. I can tell you in my experience with valets, I've known big names similar to him. Maybe weren't as loose with the pound notes, but he never left without giving a lad a drink. And I've nothing but admiration for him.
Funny you should say that. You've just clocked my memory now. So I read something on X, formerly known as Twitter, last week after this race or something. I think after he'd won it, someone tweeted, I can't remember, it was a trainer, but I can't remember which trainer and I can't remember which horse, but Maxwell had been in riding work or doing something anyway, and the trainer tweeted that he'd given all the staff, he'd just chucked 40 quid at them so that they could buy croissants and coffees on the way home or wherever they were going or something like that. But basically, he'd just been there and he'd said, lads, it's 40 quid. Get yourself coffee and croissants wherever you're going. And again, that's just a side that you don't usually notice or hear about. But I suspect that's Maxwell through and through. And I expect, you know, most owners give stable lad or lass something in the paddock. I bet Maxwell is as generous as anyone in that sport.
I'm not sure about most owners, Matt. But David Maxwell, I could name a few. I wouldn't say most, but yeah, I think all that goes such a long way. These staff that work so I keep going on about it, but they'll always have my backs. They work extremely hard, and you know, 20, 40 quid, it goes a long, long way.
Yeah. And we shouldn't finally just forget that for all that he can be mocked if you want to mock Maxwell, it's an incredibly dangerous sport. You have to be incredibly brave to do what he's doing.
Yeah, you know, when you're in the thick of it doing that job, Matt, you walk out to that parade ring every day and all you think about is winning. I mean that. You don't care what the consequences. You don't think about them. You don't ever think there's actually 2 ambulances following us around. You know, if you did think that, you just. But since I retired, my admiration for jock jockeys has grown even more. They could never get paid enough, and they're a bunch of absolute lunatics.
Right. Let's have a quick see what the viewers have been asking us. So. Stevie, do you remember Stevie Donovan?
I do.
Do you?
Mm.
Okay, was he a nice lad or annoying?
He was an all right lad. I think he worked for him Lavelle after for a while. I haven't seen him for a very long time. He'd say I was a 9 probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to be someone that you don't like if that's your reaction to someone you do quite like. Some of those looks you give me across the table.
Yeah, but you need them. Anyway, what's the question?
I've only mentioned Q-Carb once. Was lucky enough to share the wearing room with Paddy for a couple of years. You see, he started off quite nicely. Went to Cartmel one day with him and saw the cross side of Paddy. Hold on, this is looking good. Cross side of Paddy. Can you ask him about his argument with Adrian Lane? I had to go all the way home that day listening to Paddy giving out, and it's a long way from Cartmel to Hungerford. What did Adrian Lane do to you?
Honestly, I can't remember. There would have been a lot of times on the way back from the race where someone would have probably done very little but would have wound me up.
Right, Jack's been on. He says, this is good because I love Chinese food. He says, Paddy Brennan, are you a fan of the spice bags in the Chinese takeaways in Ireland? Maybe you can treat Matt to a spice bag instead of a fancy London restaurant. Seeing as you're getting absolutely nowhere with our fancy London restaurant, it's been hopeless. Should we go to Ireland? Bit of Chinese takeaway. Spice bag's good.
Spice bag, what's that?
Well, you're Irish, I don't know.
I don't know. There wasn't, when I was back in the great days of Jim Bulger's, there wasn't many spice bags.
Isn't it? Salt and pepper, chicken stuff?
No, not for me.
Have you ever had Chinese in Ireland?
No, not in Ireland, yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
When did you last go to Ireland?
When did I last go? In the summer. I know I didn't have a Chinese. You don't go to Ireland and go, I want a Chinese. Just that in Ireland, you go to the pub to have a pint of Guinness. Not a Chinese. Why do you go to Chinese? Go to China.
I mean, it's a long trip for some food. But may I suggest, the next time you go to Ireland, just in case this series continues for another year, God help us, can you video yourself ordering a spice bag in a Chinese takeaway, please?
No.
Why not?
Because
you can expense it.
Yeah.
Right. GC from London says, what's Paddy's lay of the current favourites at Cheltenham? Which one would you lay? I know which one. You've spoken about it.
Jonbon.
Yeah, you're wrong. Thanks, GC. Good question. Ridiculous answer. Jamie says, in the hope the lads read back comments on this video for next week, Paddy needs to ask, Matt, what that winter jacket was all about on Saturday on the telly. It looked middle-age crisis like. Someone else had a pop at me on a podcast this week saying I was going through a midlife crisis, but it's just my life is a crisis. It's not a midlife crisis. It's just a crisis.
No, you do dress like you've been chased in a jungle by a lion.
Okay. I'm not taking this. I'll tell you the truth of the matter, yeah? People in racing dress ridiculously and in a manner that you would not dress anywhere else. I dress normally, like a normal human being. I don't go in my tweed, or I have to wear my loafers or my slip-ons, as all you jockeys do. I go as a normal person. If it's snowing, I wear snow boots.
But Matt, you are not a normal human being.
Let's have a look forward to this weekend. Constitution Hill against Lossiemouth. Do you think it will happen?
I think this is crazy. Crazy.
What, because Constitution Hill's just going to hack up?
No way should he be 1-4. No way should he be 1-4 and she should be 2-1. Now, different ball game here on Saturday, Matt. Different ball game. They're on the new track, right? Long run from the second last to last. Could be very soft ground. Nico, the Chaspal, the whatever his name is, might just have to dig a bit deeper for this one.
When he lands his first right hook in the boxing ring, it might just be worth remembering his name.
You better make sure it connects.
I mean, you know that Constitution Hill is going to smash out.
Not having it.
You even said it earlier in the show, didn't you? This is why there is some thought that goes into this show in my brain, and we've gone full circle. Do you remember when you said once you get something in your head, you just cannot let it go?
No, I can't. I can't have Constitution Hill at 1-4. Lossiemouth 2-1. Please, runner Willie. Please. Down on my knees, begging you.
I think Harry Durham, first of all, I want to congratulate him because he's going to run Brentford Hope. And that horse is going to really struggle to win a big pot, but can be used effectively, as I call it, like a cash point machine. And absolutely, he's going to nick some tremendous prize money. But he's nearly 150 horse Brentford Hope. If Constitution Hill beats him by 2 hurdles and Lossiemouth isn't in the race, isn't this clever? Isn't it going to really force the Brighter Days Ahead people and the Lossiemouth people to go for the Mayor's Hurdle? Isn't this a clever move? If he just destroys Brentford Hope and everyone just thinks this is the worldie that we all expect, they're not going to go for the Clash, are they? It's bad for racing in some ways, I think, that he's running. It's good for racing in another way.
Do you know, I agree with you there, the prize money on Saturday for that race and that entry, but you used to be able to let a horse into that race rated 80. They don't allow that anymore. You have to be, I think, 125 or 130 just to be allowed to enter. So look, a lot of the entries around that are just to pick up money. I really hope Lossiemouth runs, and if Lossiemouth beats Constitution Hill, we will meet here next Wednesday.
Do you like roller coasters?
Yeah, I'd like to roll you in a coaster.
I'm just trying to picture that because it sounds good, but I'm just in reality, I'm not even sure it's a saying. But anyway, but it sounded good. Okay, so I'm just thinking, you've done a match for ridiculous. Jonbon is going to win the Champion Chase. I'll take you to Thorpe Park for a day out on the roller coasters there. If Jonbon, do I take you if it doesn't win or it wins?
Wins. If it wins, for your sake.
If it wins, I'll take you out for a day at Thorpe Park.
All right.
Food. I'll buy the special tickets where you don't have to queue.
Should we bring the kids there, or is it for older people?
No. Thorpe Park's for old people. Oldish. No, we'll go for a day out. You can bring the missus if you like. Try and choose a day when she's not working, which is going to be hard because she's a nurse and does a proper job. But
she bought.
Does she like roller coasters?
No, but she brought home some glasses yesterday. I like that.
We could have an unbridled day out. We try and get Hendo on a coaster. Can you imagine Nicky Henderson going? Right. What else have we got? Triumph Trial, East India Dock takes on Sauvignon and Stencil, possibly. East India Docks look very good, to be honest.
Very good.
Yeah.
It goes on the ground by Golden Horn. Hell of a stallion. He ticks all the boxes this weekend.
I tell you what, just before we look at the weekend, I wanted to make a couple of other calls while we're here. Let's just ring Olly Murphy up about Strong Leader, because he said that horse had a breathing problem. And I see it hasn't had an operation as far as I can see.
It has.
Has it?
Yeah.
Has had an operation. Not in the race card. Let's see if we can get a word. See if we can get a word with Olly. And I want to call one other person, Snowden, as well. See what Garlow's doing.
Yeah. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Olly. Sorry to disturb you. I'll be very, very quick. You're live on the Unbridled podcast with Paddy Brennan.
Christ almighty.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you don't have to.
Privileged.
Well, you don't have to sit here with him for an hour. Strong Leader. Operation or no operation since the last run?
Yeah, has had a wind up, Matt. Has been injected as well. He's had his back injected. So, unfortunately, he choked the last day at Ascot. Kind of got no rhythm. So, listen, if he's back to his best, he's the one they've all got to beat. But he's obviously got to put a bad run behind him.
But in some ways, this is good news, isn't it? I mean, obviously, you've got to make sure the operation works. But you found a reason for the problem. You seem to have managed to do all that quite quickly. So, in some ways, it could be a positive.
No, 100%. And do you know what? Funny, I actually said to Paddy after he won in Newbury that he made a bit of a noise when he won the long distance hurdle in Newbury, and I just thought he wasn't 100% wound up, and it really caught him at Ascot when the ground was worse. So listen, hopefully a little wind operation has helped him. I think the race is going to cut up. Obviously, Crambo's the one to beat, but I wouldn't swap my lad if he's back to his best.
One question from Paddy.
Yeah, Olly, I don't think he liked Ascot.
No, I think you're dead right. He's only been right-handed once before, and he wasn't comfortable running in that 2-3 race there the last day. There was only one bit of fresh ground, and that was down the inside panel, and he's always wanted a bit of room in his race as well. So, no, I agree with you. I hope you're right, and I'll call him fire your village on the way back if he wins for a pint.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Make it at least 4 or 5. Make him pay for something, because he's not paying for a night out for me in London. So make him pay for something, please, Olly.
I will do.
Have a great day. Appreciate you picking up.
Take care, lads. Cheers.
Thank you. Let's try Hendo. We always give him a call, don't we? He's always very good. If he could be, he'd be right in the middle of third lot or something. Fourth lot, fifth lot,
Third lot.
think he's going to pick up.
Not looking great at the minute.
Hold on.
Hello.
No, he is there. He is. Nicky,
I'm here. I'm just going into the clinic. But,
you're just going into a clinic.
yes, I am. In London.
Nothing too serious, I hope.
No.
I was going to ask you what type of clinic, Nicky, but I'm a bit worried. Have you got 1 minute or 2 minutes?
I've got 1 minute. Yeah, have we?
Okay, very quickly.
I'm on the street.
Okay, very quickly. Big Horse Saturday, everything, all systems go?
Yeah, I couldn't be happy with him, to be very honest. No, he's been in terrific form. I mean, as you know, this wasn't really, straight after Kempton. I was thinking we'd be pretty sure to go straight to Cheltenham in March, but he's come back so well out of it, and he just got to say, well, come on, we've got to go. We've missed a lot last year, so let's try and make up for lost time.
Can't wait to see him like everyone, Nicky. I thank you so much for running him. I said that to Buckers earlier. And just quickly, Palladium. I mean, it's a bit different to Lulamba because this is a horse with flat form. I mean, does he jump well and is he giving you good vibes?
He's done everything right. He's ready to run. He enjoys it. I'm looking forward to it with a bit of apprehension, yes.
Has he got some size and scope, Nicky?
Hello?
Has he got some size and scope?
Oh, no, he's a lovely horse, beautiful horse. I mean, he'll be going flat racing. I mean, that's the project. But in the meantime, we thought we'd just have a little look at this.
Okay. And just a very final question, and we'll let you go in wherever you're going in, Nicky. Good luck. Just in general, you've had good seasons, you've won Gold Cups, etc. But this pot of horses right here, right now, fingers crossed, have you had many better seasons with more quality than this?
Well, it's a good squad, isn't it? I mean, if we can... this time last year, we were in the same position. And 3 weeks later, the whole thing fell apart. Now, we've got quite a long time to go between now and March. I mean, if you remember, in the sort of Newbury Betfair meeting last year, we won the Betfair Hurdle, we won the Denman, we won the this, that, and the other. Everything was flying. And 2 weeks later, the wheels had fallen off. Now, that's the game. So we've got a very lovely bunch of horses, and some, these young ones coming along are pretty smart too. The novice chasers are very good as well. So, if everything could go right, it's exciting times. But for March this year, but even so, we've got to, as we call them, they're squeaky bum times, aren't they? There's so much that can go wrong. Horses are very fickle things, and 24 hours is a long time in their life, let alone 6 weeks.
Yeah. And Lulamba is the supreme second choice as far as your...
Oh, I'd imagine so. Yeah. I mean, one always keeps everything is covered. There are all sorts of reasons about the different tracks. It might suit him better.
Well, you're more 17 barrows than 7 barrows this season. Absolutely flying, Nicky. Good luck wherever you're going into.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Nicky.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Really appreciate you picking up. Thank you. So, Pat, we're just about to break new ground here on Unbridled. Never, ever so far have we had a good enough looking guest that they have done their hair in the car before coming on the podcast. But we have now. It's a very, very good morning to us here because we're recording at 10:30 in the morning on Wednesday. To Gavin Sheehan. Morning, Gav.
Morning, guys.
I've got to say, and obviously in Nico's case, there was nothing to do, but we've never had someone prepare like you just prepared, looking in the mirror, checking the hair, getting yourself looking all sexy for us here on Unbridled.
Yeah, have to look good when you're going bad, don't you?
I want to get straight into it, and the biggest quote anywhere in horse racing over the last week came from you at Windsor. Paddy Brennan's got a head on him like a melted welly. I mean, I've never heard that expression, but I love it. Where did that come from?
Probably came from Paddy, did it?
I don't know. I didn't hear that one before, Gav. I quite like that. But was that something to do with my head getting fried at times, or where did that come from?
More fried at times, but if you see a melted welly, then you'll understand when Paddy comes back into the weighing room sometimes.
So just let's make this clear, because I don't know, our viewers obviously and listeners don't know. would you, Paddy, be mates with Gav, or is he another one who doesn't like you?
No, I had a good relationship with Gav.
Did you?
Yeah, very. He always had a lot of respect. He knew I was getting old, and yeah, we got on very well.
You said to me earlier that you were the closest to looking like Gav in the weighing room, and it's fair to say Gav is known as probably just about, at least one of the best looking jockeys. I mean, most of you are very weird looking, but he's actually a good looking lad. And you said you were the closest in the weighing room to him.
Yeah, gorgeous Gav, we called him. Gorgeous Gav.
Yeah. Has that always been with you, Gav? Do the opposition mock you in the weighing room for being, the Elvis Presley, the Olly Murphy of the jockeys world?
I don't know if they mock me. They'll take the piss out of me every day, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was Jamie Moore Geese. He came out with the gorgeous Gav part, which I fairly popped on into the weighing room. Which I probably, when I was a bit younger, going out chasing girls, you'd probably spend an extra couple of minutes trying to get your hair right.
Well, it's interesting. It's obviously hit home because as always, well, Tom Bellamy actually came up with this idea that when we were looking for stuff on people, like Nico should be our go-to man because he's been good for us so far. He wasn't great on you, but it's clear the jealousy from Nico. Very clear. Have a listen to this.
Hi, Matt. Gavin Sheehan, good-looking, knows exactly where the best ground is. Even if it differs to every other jockey. If you want some true sort of insights, I reckon Brendan Powell would be the main man. He knows him very well. But yeah, fierce rider as well.
That's quite nice for Nico, isn't it? Fierce rider and a good-looking.
I'll take that off, Nico, yeah.
Gav, tell us a bit about yourself, because there aren't many features on you. You come from West Cork. Well, are you from I have no idea about this myself. Are you a racing family person? What's the background?
No, nobody in the family were into racing. I kind of only got into watching westerns and wanted to be a cowboy, to be honest. Didn't know an awful lot about horse racing itself. But yeah, started off with donkey derbies, racing up the street and around the track, and kind of, as with pony racing was there, the horse and pony racing was big in Ireland, and still is kind of big enough. It's slowly deteriorating a small bit, but yeah, I suppose started going racing, slowly got into the horse and pony racing. But where I was very lucky was lads that were actually in the same town as me, Castle Racing Syndicate. There was Davy Keane, Philip Inwright, Brian McCarthy, the brothers, Stephen O'Donovan, who you might know. His father and that brother, they had stables above it theirs, and I was very good friends with Barry and Stephen's brother, and just got into the pony racing, and it just took off from there, to be honest. 3 years pony racing, and then I went to Michael Harrigan for a year and a half doing the pints.
Michael Horgan. I remember one day I went to Horgan's, and it's great fun. He had 5 scorpions in a field, yeah? They were like, I don't know, half a year old or something, just stood there. And he said, pick one. He said, pick one. Give me a few quid for it. Pick one. I was too scared. But anyway, it was a great experience. Is that the Stevie Donovan we were talking about earlier?
I think it could be, yeah. Yeah.
Paddy didn't seem to be a great fan of Stevie Donovan, Gav.
I never said that.
You did.
Paddy would have been.
You did.
Anyway, Gav, but what Gav you say, hasn't maybe hit the proper headlines, but the way I always say about Gavin Sheehan is describe it like a Man United 1999 Bayern Munich Champions League final. You think of a team, and for me, it's the very best Man United team, and Gavin would be on it. I think he's top class. That's nice to hear. The Ryan Giggs. Well, that's. He's a winner. Gavin's a winner. Gavin's a winner. Gavin, just, you going back years, you obviously, when you came over first, was it to Charlie Mann?
Yeah.
Charlie Mann. And where did it go on from there?
Went to Warren's after a couple of years, jumping conditional, and then got the boot out of there and get to Jamie's. Hold on, why did you get the boot? What happened? Tell us. This is the kind of stuff we like on this show. I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm still waiting to hear.
We talked to you on the back of 2 cracking victories on guard duty and Teresita. Both rides have reaped tremendous praise, I think, from everyone. It was funny because I can't remember where, but I remember someone saying he's a great front-running jockey, Sheehan, and then we just see him from off the pace twice, and you kind of suddenly realise you can ride anyway. I mean, do you feel you're in a really good place as far as riding horses at the moment? And the other thing I want to ask you, added to that question, is, again, I read somewhere that nowadays you do your own thing and you tend not to listen to what the trainer wants you to do.
Yeah, I suppose they've got a bit more confidence in me, but that's where I can try and do my own thing. But I think when you get tied down to instructions, you get down there, you're not in the right place, and you get uncomfortable, and all you're trying to do is get into that position rather than actually riding the race to suit yourself. You get down to the start now as well, Matt, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pop out where I used to, and there's 7 or 8 horses lining up beside me trying to do the exact same thing. It's quite difficult.
I think, Matt, Gav, which we speak about on the show a few times, has got the 4 secret words, I think. Not scared to lose. Gav, you appear to me, watching, you're never scared to lose. And if I could picture a jockey some days that you ride similar to at the minute, it's like in a race, you don't know where you are and then you suddenly appear. The last person that I used to love to watch that did that was Timmy Murphy. You know, for 3/4 of the race, you didn't know where he was. And then I thought that ride, especially at Windsor on Sunday, that was a typical hiding away. Race looked like there was 6 winners sort of jumping second last, and suddenly you've come out of nowhere, and yeah, it was joy to watch.
Yeah, it really was. As far as the weekend is concerned, Gav, do you know where Garlaw's running?
It just depends on the weather. Yeah, if we get a lot of rain, he probably won't run anywhere. But ideally, he'd run at Cheltenham. Give him a little spin over hurdles and see what it's like back over them.
So maybe go in the Cleve. And I wanted you to relive Hewick in the King George with me. If you were just describing your ride of Hewick, Gav, how would you describe it from start to finish in that race?
Never say die. Do you know something, Matt? I thought going out there I'd have enough speed to be up there in the van. And I thought stamina would kick in. Whether I was good enough and had the class, I didn't know. But I was in the race for 2 fences, and after that, I was never in the race. And I was never going well. And he's not like a fluent jumper that stands out outside the wings and got loads of scope. He's very basic in what he does. He's good at what he does, but he's basic at what he does. He tucks up his head. And I was thinking going out, to be honest with you, in the last circuit, if I get any further back, then I'm going to have to pull up. But I didn't get any further back, and I got stuck into him after jumping the 2 along the side before he turned down the back. And I thought I had 4th place in sight, and the further I was going, the better I was getting. But I thought I had a massive chance when I passed out Nico on the ground. And yeah, geez, that was some buzz. But it was a weird one because I didn't feel like I was in the race. You know, it's different to like That's Alright Gene or horse like that, because you're in the race, you're traveling, you're there. And when you're not in the race, not traveling, always off the bridle, it's hard work. And then all of a sudden, I'm winning the race and won snug at the back of the last.
It was an amazing ride.
Yeah.
Now, you might think you've got away lightly so far, Gav, but I've slightly stitched you up by asking you that last question, because Brendan Powell, of course, has been in touch, and he did tell us 1 or 2 stories, particularly one about Chepstow recently, where he said you went out really annoyed to ride a horse that you didn't really want to ride, and you ended up giving it a peach and it won, having moaned for hours that you were taking the ride. James Bowen has been on, Gav, and he, in an Irish accent, of course, James being Welsh, has given us what he thinks would be your description of Hewick winning the King George. So this is James Bowen being Gavin Sheehan and describing his win on Hewick in the King George.
Yes, then I said to myself there, this is a rotten lad. I thought to myself then at the top of the straight, yes, I could pull up now. And then I said to myself, actually, these lads have gone fast enough now. Yes, I might be in with a chance jumping 3 out. And I missed that one. And I thought, now, I'll pull out now after this one. So then I said to myself, jeez, I'll kick on and keep going. Then I said to myself, going down to 2 out then, I have a chance now. Then I ended up getting there too soon, would you believe it?
Oh, brilliant.
That's the new thing now inside the weighing room. All the lads are ripping out me for that.
That's class.
I got too quick.
Yeah. Gav, I'm so pleased things are going well for you.
Yeah, likewise, Gav.
Not a man that
Thanks.
you hear many bad words about at all. Family man these days as well. And one thing I've noticed, you and Skelton in particular, little kid in your case, comes to the racetrack, you nip out in between races. You seem to have taken on board being a dad really well, like a duck to water.
Yeah, I love it. I come from a big family anyway, but I have 16 nieces and nephews. So I couldn't wait to have my own. But yeah, Teddy's an absolute joy. Fairly quiet and Paddy down as well, and changed his way around the weighing room, and it change your mindset. And you look forward to going home to see them as well, and forget about racing, because we got more bad days than we do good. It's easy
Definitely.
to celebrate the good days. But yeah, I suppose it's nice that he can come racing. I'm looking forward to when he's out walking about, and I suppose when he's to Paddy's kids' age now, that he can go out and have good fun with them.
Just finally, Gav, obviously you and Pad are mates, but that means you know him a little bit. And anything from the past always stick in your mind when you think about Brennan?
There's loads from the past with Brennan. Yeah, he's like a box of chocolates. You never know which Paddy you're going to get. Yeah, he's the first run-in I ever had with Paddy was at Toaster. He'll probably forget this now, but I was riding one for John Upson in a chase. It was rated 13, the second lowest rated ever. And as I say, 4-runner race. Told everybody, lads, I got told to make the running. I know I'm no good, but I'm going to follow my instructions, but I'm going to stay out your way. I'll go as wide as I can. I'll stay out your way. Paddy's down the start, organising everything. He's on the favourite, and he trots over to me, and my horse booted him, kicked him down the start. Paddy has lost the head completely. He ended up winning the race, but yeah, I remember him trotting over, and as soon as my horse kicked him, I thought, I'm dead.
Oh, brilliant.
It's a real pleasure to speak to you. If you get on Garlaw in the Cleve at the weekend, let's hope it goes well. And yeah, really, really nice. Just of all the horses you're riding at the moment, Gav, is there one that you can't wait to sit on again in the near future?
Holly Grove Chacha. She'll run in the Jane Seymour at Sandown. And yeah, she ran a massive race the last time. I was kind of giving out to Jamie and everything for running her there, because 2 miles around Taunton on better ground, I thought was just, there was no box being ticked. But she ran a massive race, and Jamie knows better than I do. It'll sharpen her up and get her jumping a bit better for the Jane Seymour. So hopefully she'll go there with a massive chance.
I know technically people would think this is a day off for you because only Catterick jumping today, but you've already been driving around, obviously, riding work for all sorts of people. So stopping us for 10, 15 minutes is very, very kind, and we genuinely appreciate it, Gav, because without people like you on this show, well, I am nothing, because I've only left with Paddy. So thanks so much for stopping by.
Yeah, cheers, Gav. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be on the show, lads.
Thank you.
To get on it.
So thanks to Gavin Sheehan. Just a reminder of those 3 boosts. If you want the bigger prices, 6-4 Jonbon for the Champion Chase. There's a winner for you. Boosted from 6-5, although Paddy says it's got no chance. Triumphernal, Lulamba, 7-4 from 6-4. And Protektorat in the Ryanair out to 11-1 from 9-1. Episode 9 of Unbridled. We do one more, Pat. We made it to double figures.
Unbelievable.